Hello, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to tie this. Pretty exciting. I've actually finished it, and here is the long-awaited second video. Right, so I just thought I'd do a quick recap on how to layer up a quilt. So the first thing you need to do, if you haven't got a big table, don't worry, you can do it on a reasonably small table. So this is the backing fabric. This is a brushed cotton, and I've taped it to the table with just some regular masking tape. Of course I can only tape it along two sides. That's absolutely fine as long as it's smooth and there's no wrinkles. The weight of the fabric will hold it off the table and it'll be okay. Then the next layer is the wadding or batting, and this is an 80-20, so that means it's 80% cotton with a 20% polyester. I would like to use 100% cotton, but there is an advantage to using 20% polyester, and that is when it's washed. It's amazing how much it cuts the drying time. 100% cotton takes forever to dry, and this is going to take a fair amount of use, so it will get washed every now and again, because it's a lap quilt for me. The last layer is the quilt top, which I have actually finished, and did an absolute classic, which is that I lost the strips to finish it. Thought I hadn't got enough fabric, managed to finish it but with one less strip to the design, and then decided I hadn't got anything for the border. I did actually buy this batik and then used some leftover purple for the corners. But I think it works fine. So normally I would tape the wadding down as well, of the batting down, and then I would tape the top layer. But because I'm going to tie this, I don't need to baste it or pin it or anything. I'll be doing all of that as I go along. And because I'm using a brushed cotton backing, that's holding on pretty well to this wadding, and I've just given it a really vigorous brushing to make sure there's no wrinkles or anything. Yeah, usually you'd anchor all of the different layers down just to hold it in place while you're tacking it or basting it all together, but we don't need to do that. So now I'm going to get the thread ready and the tying needle. So these are the tying needles. They are called longs or tying. If you're looking for these in the United States, you'll find them quite easy to find. And this is where I got them from. And so in Europe or the UK, you'd be looking for a trapunto needle or a soft sculpture needle. And it's got to be something of a reasonable length with a big eye in it. And the thread we are using is a cotton Perle. This is a cotton Perle number 8. You could use standard crochet cotton, which is also cotton Perle usually, but it's slightly thicker than this. There's another colour example as well. Anything that's thicker than normal sewing thread but isn't quite cord. So you need a reasonable length of cotton, but it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be continuous across all the rows, but a nice length means that we can do a bit more. So I think I've got about 2 yards, 1.5 meters, something like that, and we're just going to thread this massive needle. Be careful, they are sharp, and then we're going to start tying. So I'm going to start, let me see what you can see on the camera. I'm going to start here. No, maybe I should start here. I think you can see that bit better. So what we're going to do is we're going to stitch diagonally across, just because I would like to put the ties, each tie on each corner. I could go this way and tie on each corner as well, but I'd be fighting all the way with all the seams. This way I get to go across open fabric, open country if you like. I'm going to put the needle in, and it's pretty tough. You can feel the table underneath, and then go round, make a stitch, and you leave a tail, and you can leave it at that if you want to, and you're just going to tie that once. And in fact I can't make my stitches as small as I'd like today, so I think I'm just going to do it with one. So then you go through the next one and you bring up a little stitch. This is really tough on the hands. And you leave that in between. Usually you'd go round through that hole again and make a little loop as well, but I don't think I can suffer the pain of that. The main thing is that we're trying to keep the 3 layers of the quilt together. Right, and I can feel the table underneath, and then hopefully I'm catching the backing fabric. I'm just doing gigantic stitches all the way across. Hopefully you can see this. So then what you do is you literally snip in half like this. That's where our needle's going to continue. And then you take the ends and you tie them in a little knot like that. That's it. I'll do this one. And then if I ever got the time to sit and quilt this, I could literally go back through and just snip these off and quilt it. But until then, I've got a quilt that's held together securely, is not going to wobble around a lot. If you want to, you can do this the other way around and have the ties ending on the back, and you can have buttons and things on here. I've done that quite a few times. It's very effective. Then all you do with these is you just snip them off. I'm probably going to undo these and do them again because they're a little bit long and scratty. So if I pull this one out, we'll go on to the next bit here. So you literally get your needle, push it in, and you're going to get it through all 3 layers, bring it up, and I'll show you the other one as well, which is where you hold on to your end and you go through the same holes again. You've got like a little stitch there, then you go on to the next one, go through. Of course I'm using batik, which is much harder to get one of these needles through. So you just go around again, then you go on to the next one. Be very careful when you're bringing it up for the second half of the stitch not to put it into your finger. You'll end up making quite a horrible mess and it'll be very painful. So we've got the stitches again, but they've got the little loops round. I'll just do that. I thought those were a bit baggy, so I'm going to try and pull this a bit tighter. I'll pull that a little bit. There we go. And this one. And all you'll see on the back is a single stitch. Well, hopefully, unless you've been really messy. I'll do a bit more of this. I'll try and finish one end so that I can take the layers off the table and actually show you the back. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I've finished doing that section and I've just spotted one that needs trimming just here, and I've decided that on this quilt I am doing the loop round stitch and then tying it off, and you can hardly see it. Can you see a little bit there? There's one on each corner. You can see it's just anchoring it all into position. So I will go ahead and finish tying the rest of this, but I've done a whole section to show you. Normally I wouldn't take this off the table until I'd finished everything that was on it, and then I would move everything down. So this is what it looks like at the moment. See, and you can see it just about draped on the floor. So what I'll have to do is move this section along onto the table so I can tie that last bit, and then what I'll do is I'll bring all of this across and do the other half. I think I'm doing it long ways. It depends what size table you've got, how big the quilt is. This one's not going to take very long to tie, or it wouldn't take that long to quilt, but it's time I don't have this side of Christmas. So that's what it looks like, and that's what I will do afterwards. But as promised, let's do a bit of a reveal. I don't want to disturb this too much because I will put it all back on when I've finished. So here we are, live on film. That's amazing, because although I felt like I'd gone through the back, you never know until you actually turn it over if you actually have. So the bit that we can see, I've gone through every single one, and that's all you can see on the back. So it's pretty nice. It's similar theory as to how mattresses used to be made, you know, with the buttons and things. So that's what it looks like on the back. So what I was saying earlier on is that you could tie it with the tails on this side and have a button on the front or something, or if you tied it with a button and used if I'd used a grey just to hold the button on, then the tufting wouldn't have shown on this side. But actually I don't think it's that bad. I think it's pretty good. I mean, I'll try and show you close up, but it really blends in and you can just see these, but they're really not very noticeable. Probably the most noticeable, she says, when you can't really see it, is on the purple and right on the edge of the green here. That's probably the most noticeable it gets. So that's the end of my tying video. I think you get the gist, and you can see why people used to do it a lot more as a method of holding quilts together. And I wonder actually how many quilts have been tied and then someone's gone back and quilted them at a later date, you know, when they've got time or whatever. It is also a really good method for dealing with intricate patterns like log cabin that's got a lot of seams you perhaps wouldn't want to quilt through, although I have. You know, there's like 6 weeks of my life I'm not going to get back, but it was worth it. The end result was worth it. So anyway, if you want to see how to finish a quilt off, I've already done a how to bind your quilt, so I'll put the link in the description and maybe make sure that's the one at the end of the video as well, to go off and watch how to actually bind it. I hope I haven't held up your Christmas present making too much, and anyway, as promised, here it is, and I'll see you all again soon. It'll be a couple of weeks, and I'm hoping to do something suitably festive. Ideas. Give me ideas. Drop ideas in the comments. Anyway, I'll see you all again soon. Thanks for joining me. Bye.